Hi guys, welcome to Foodie Gardening. We're a little bit later this week because I was actually away earlier in the week, and sometimes I film videos in advance, but the allotment ones I really want them to be week by week, so I can look back on them and see what I was doing. We did manage to get the greenhouse finished, which is amazing. While we were sorting out the greenhouse, I did do a couple of jobs outdoors on the plot. There's mainly seems to be weeds growing, but I did put in my broad beans here. I did put the eggshells around them, but it just rained so much the eggshells got covered in mud. So the slugs have really eaten most of the broad beans, but today I'm going to cover them with some plastic containers and see if we can revive those a little bit. And then I also put in these tree onions. It was absolutely pouring with rain, so I tried to space them out a bit, but in the end I really just needed to stick them into the ground. My mum gave me these and they had the onions grow on top of them, but the rain just flattened them down. They weren't in a very good state. This is what they're looking like now. I've tried to stake them and some of them are standing up a bit. I'm going to have a look at sorting out these today as well. And we've got nice weather today, so it's a little bit warm in here. I really want to plant my tomatoes into the ground, but you can see the state that the ground's in, and some of these are ready to go out. This one is one of the currant super plugs that I got when I was at the Edible Garden show. And then today I'm planning on potting on this middle tray here. These are all the ones I've had on my windowsill at home. And this one is actually a grafted plant that my mum bought me, and it's on one half it's got white tomatoes and on the other half it's got black tomatoes. It's meant to be black and white. I think they're actually like a creamy one and a really dark red. You can see where the graft has taken just there. She actually wasn't very happy with those because they came through the post and they just weren't very well protected, but it seems to be okay now. I've been giving it a little bit of tender loving care. I'm excited to see the two different coloured tomatoes growing from the same plant. But yeah, I've got loads of tomatoes here to sort out, so that's my plan for today. Even though I haven't sorted the ground out in here, I think I'm going to move the staging back in, because outside on the plot is starting to look like a junkyard, and also it will give me a place to put all those tomatoes. This is one of the currant tomatoes that I'm potting on. I think it's probably a red one because the stems do look a slightly different colour, but it's actually got some flowers coming on it already, and it's far too bushy, so I'm really pinching these out as I'm potting them on. These are the tomatoes that I've brought down from the windowsill at home. So I've got Moneymaker, Harbinger, Shirley, and of the Shirley only one of them has come up, Gardener's Delight, and the end one is Roma. There's going to be quite a lot of tomatoes here, but I'm going to pot them all up for now and see which ones grow the strongest, I think. Would you believe I've actually run out of compost now for these last ones, which are the Roma. These are the tops that I pinched off the currants. I'm going to take those home and see if I can get them to root. It's worth a try. There's only 3 of those. I've got 3 of the currant tomatoes in the large pots. They look like nothing now I've pinched them out. And then I've got the rest of the tomatoes up here. I've got another 3 currants in these pots. Now the compost in these pots actually had cucumbers in it last year, so it's not totally fresh. It's still got a little bit of root in it. I've picked out what I can though, and I think they should be okay in there. And then there's the one little Shirley at the back, and this is the black and white one, which I've just noticed my mum did write a label for, and it says indigo rose and white cherry. And then these are the other seedlings. They looked so massive when they were in their little seed trays, and now they're just lost in these big pots. I pinched out the first leaves that came through, so these little round ones on these ones, and I left them on the Gardener's Delight. They didn't look quite as robust. And then down here on the floor, these are the water bottles that I want to cut off to put around my broad beans, but I can't seem to find my scissors anywhere. The shed is still a really big mess, but I have got the round, larger, they were like 2-litre bottles I think, rounds from last year that I had on the sweet corn, so I'm just going to pop those on for now as like a temporary measure, because I do want to use those ones on the sweet corn again. I haven't even planted the sweet corn yet, so I can definitely use them for now. These are the plastic bottles that I was talking about, and you can see there's a little bit of broad bean left there, so I'm going to put these over it to protect it. But this soil is just so bad, it's like clay. I'm going to have trouble I think getting this in. They're not actually in the ground that much there. I'm a little bit worried they might blow away, but I think for now it'll be better than nothing, but it's definitely not a permanent solution. I'm going to need to dig those in a bit deeper or get the other bottles cut up really. My last job for today is going to be to try and get some of the weeds up here between the raspberries, and I'm using my new cultivator for that, so hopefully it does the trick. Well, that's definitely not working. The ground is just too compact for it to really get in. I think it's going to be, no quick tricks, it's going to be get down on my hands and knees for it, I think. Well, I've only done a small section of the raspberries, but I have done it at least, so I've still got quite a bit to go. But little and often always wins in my book, and I'm hungry, so I'm heading off home now. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next week.